Hello, folks. I am back with some firearms information, and I'm sorry if it sound on the title that it was a little bit clickbaity, but it was the way I was trying to get some attention regarding this matter, and that's, I guess, clickbaiting is for. I received a message from Taurus PT-111G2 regarding the Glock 43X. As you see, all of these firearms are unloaded, but I'll do a demonstration in a moment. Uh, the 43X, some people have been talking about when you load the firearm up and you fire, and let's say you want to take a the magazine out, and then later on, you want to clear that round. What happens is it's either slow to come out, or it feels like it gets stuck, or it feels like you have to use a lot of strength to extract that round from the chamber. And I noticed it, but I didn't really think nothing of it. I just thought maybe the firearm had to be broken in. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate here. These are snap caps in here. I'm going to chamber around, and I'm going to let the magazine out. This is assuming like you're at the range and you want to stop firing, and then you want to extract the round that's in the chamber. So what happens is, as you pull, there's a little bit of resistance, and with snap caps, it's made a little easier because they're snap caps. But if you were using a real live round, and I didn't want to do that on camera, it would hang up or get stuck. Now, as I pull back, as you see, the snap cap is not ejecting yet, so it seems like the extractor is not pulling, let's say, the rim here of the casing. So it seems like that's what's happening, or it's not pulling it enough. And at that point, then the ejector is supposed to kick it out, as we all know with semi-auto firearms. So this is what happens when you pull this fully back. You'll see it kind of like struggle. Now it feels like it's stuck. And right now I'm using all my strength to pull that out. Now you're going to probably say, well, you got it to the side, maybe it's not extracting right. Well, here it is from this angle. It's still not extracting right. Now that I kind of like jammed it a little bit, I'm going to show you exactly how it should be done. And I'm going to do this again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it's really supposed to be done. You pull this real hard and fast. And as you see, the snap cap just flew out, and it comes out with no problem. Now you just notice how fast that came out. And I'm going to just do this again. You notice you pull this really hard and fast, the casing comes out. All right. Now, a lot of people have come to are saying that maybe it's an issue with the gun, maybe my firearm is broken. Well, folks, it's not. I called a Glock customer service this morning, and they basically said it's because of the way the firearm is designed. And this is not only on the 43X, it is on any firearm that's a Gen 5. Now, some of your Gen 5s, it will or may not happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen with all of them. Especially, the customer service rep told me about this area right here where the breach is. Well, I gotta close it. Right in this area here. If you notice, there's like a kind of like a slope here. That is so the slide can go up on top of the breech, and that way you'll be able to rack the slide as well as the round can be ejected. Now, this is something that Glock has changed. It is not a mistake, it's not a flaw or anything like that. And they said the tolerances can be different from firearm to firearm. They said they have noticed that it is more so with the 43X. So if you think something's wrong with your firearm, it's not. It's actually, they intended to make the tolerances different on the Gen 5s, and that way the rounds will extract differently. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, here's the 48, and I'm going to do the same thing with that. And with the 48, as you see, it has the same thing. But as you see, when I pull that, you see it looks like there's a malfunction. Now, this is just, mind you, that this is just your hand pulling this. This is not going to happen during normal fire. The Glock is saying this only happens when it's basically in the unloading phase if you have a round in the chamber. Again, the Glock instructed just to pull it back fast and hard, and that's how your casing will come out. And again, you have the round inside, and Glock states you pull it back hard and fast. If you pull it slow, you're going to get either a hang up or it may get jammed. But remember, this is only for unloading purposes, and it only happens during that particular incident. Let's go over, and I said it affects the Gen 5s. Now, Glock basically said this happens only on the firearms where the breech is made this way, where it's kind of like slanted a little bit. But like I said, it only normally happens only on the 43. They say it's something that really they can't really explain why, but basically Glock views it as a normal situation. They just want you to rack the slide firmly. And when in my training, back when I had Glock training years ago, we were taught to pull that slide vigorously back to prevent malfunctions or anything like that, especially when you're feeding around in the chamber. I was trained to pull that rigorously back and let it pop forward, with never to ride the slide. That's why I was taught the overhand method. The overhand method gives a little more force to for that slide and the recoil spring to bring that slide forward. Or in today's, and there other people do the option of letting it pop forward. So in this particular incident, I'm going to put, this is the Glock 45. Of course, you know it's a Gen 5. I'm going to rack one in, take this out, and pull it back, and the same thing happens. Now, if you rack it like it's supposed to, that's what happens. And I'll do it again. Pull it slow, that's what's going to happen. You pull it like you're supposed to pull hard, that's what happens. And I think it's because a lot of times we're in a different generational. Shooters are in different generations. I was taught years ago to pull and let that thing snap hard and whatnot, and then other generations they're a little bit different. They'll pull it slow or anything like that. Pull it slow, and they're able to rack around. Like, let's say if you want to rack around quietly, and then that's what you have. But other groups of shooters, they may do it a little different. Some people will rack the slide, pop the magazine, and let it pop forward. Or I was taught, I'll give you an example. If I was to rack a slide, let's say that the slide catch was already back, and then you put a magazine in. I was always taught to move forward and let it move the slide back and let it pop forward. Other people, you'll see them do this, and you'll see them do this, and that's where the debate whether it's a slide lock or slide catch comes into effect, and you'll see them do that to chamber around. But all my training has told me to just rack. But I just figured that I didn't mean to go off on a tangent about that, but I just wanted to let you know that if anybody that has a Glock 43X, and you feel as though there's something wrong with that, with your firearm when you try to a uh, rack out a round, there's nothing wrong with it. It's basically that's the way Glock is doing that now. With some, like I said, it varies from firearm to firearm. It may do that on maybe certain 43s, 48s, whatever you have, but it's more noticeable on the Glock 43X that happens. There's nothing wrong with the firearm, uh, and it doesn't impede the function. It's just that Glock, the customer service rep from Glock said they've been getting several calls about that particular incident. So, with that, I just got to say is that's all I have. Basically, any questions, you can feel free to contact me or whatnot. Just feel free to do so. So happy shooting. Hashtag 2A.